You know, you can't send me. I can't do this job. My clan is the poorest. In my father's house, I'm the least. What can you do with me? But this is to just show us that whether we are rich or whether we are poor, whether we are educated or uneducated, God is no respecter of person. God uses whom he chooses. So even though I might be highly educated and someone walking here who is very, uneducated, God could use that same person to bring deliverance for his people. God could use whoever he chooses. And God wasn't looking at Gideon clan or his tribe, whatever. He wasn't looking at all those things. He was just looking at Gideon as a person whom he can use. And that's how God looks at us. He looks at us as someone who he can use. So Gideon, he just couldn't see himself as being the deliverer for Israel. Verses 16 says, "And the Lord said unto him, Surely I will be with thee, and thou shalt smite the Midianites as one man. And he said unto him, If now I have found grace in thy sight, then show me a sign that thou talkest with me. Depart hence, I pray thee, until I come unto thee, and bring forth my present, and set it before thee. And he said, I will tarry until thou come." So Gideon really wants to know if really this is God really speaking to me. He still can't comprehend everything that this angel is saying to him, because for him, it can't be me because I'm poor. I'm the least in my father's house, and I think maybe you're making a mistake. So I'm gonna have I'm gonna put you to the test to see if really God sent you to me. So Gideon went and he prepared his present, the kid and the cake and the unleavened cake and so forth, and he brought it back. And the angel of the Lord said unto Gideon, he's in verses 19, and he said to Gideon, then the angel of the Lord verses 20. And the angel of the Lord said unto him, Take the flesh and the unleavened cake, and lay them upon this rock, and pour the broth. And he did. And the angel of the Lord, he put forth the end of his staff that was in his hand, and he touched the flesh and the unleavened cake, and there arose a fire out of the rock, and consumed the flesh and the unleavened cake. And then the angel of the Lord departed out of his side. This was the sign for Gideon that this is God, this is Jehovah, this is your God, this is your Father who is speaking to you. As Pastor rightfully said this morning, God, when we come to know God, for us, he is not just God, but he is God, our Father. And Gideon, now he realized that really this is God. He become fearful, because when the children of Israel, they could not have faced God during the time of Moses, because they were afraid to get in the presence of God. Here Gideon became fearful, and when Gideon perceived that he was an angel of God, Gideon said, Alas, O Lord God, for because I have seen an angel of the Lord face to face. And the Lord said unto him, Peace be unto thee, fear not, thou shalt not die. Then Gideon built an altar there unto the Lord, and called it Jehovah Shalom. Unto this day it is yet in Ophrah. Gideon realized now it is God, and he became so fearful that he was going to die because he had seen the angel of the Lord. But the Lord reassured Gideon, you're not going to die, because there is something you have to do. You have to bring deliverance for the children of Israel. And it is only going to come through you for this time. And when Gideon heard the angel say this unto him, Gideon, he built an altar right there. and he offered unto the Lord. And he called that place Jehovah Shalom, the God of peace. He is God of peace. And there Gideon realized that now he was not just speaking to any ordinary angel. He was speaking with God as that angel. So dear Gideon realized, well, God really want me to do this, and he have to be prepared. When God called us, many a times we make excuses. I could remember Pastor Atwell always said, you know, I really didn't want to be a pastor. I tried many excuses. But when God have you to do something, no matter how much you hide, no matter where you go. Jonah tried to run away, but God brought Jonah right back to where he was supposed to be. He even transported him in a fish, you know, to get to where God wants him to be. So no matter what we might try to put up, what excuse we might try to come up with, as long as God has something for you to do, He commissioned you to do it, you have to do it. Amen. And we just want to thank God this morning for faithfulness in Him. The children of Israel, you know, when a person turn away from God, when we try to, you know, do our own thing as Christians, we cause all different spirits to come upon us. That's not supposed to be there. And this was what happening to the children of Israel. Because they was not walking they were not in line with the things of God, they exposed themselves to all kinds of spirit. And as I read on in this chapter, when I realized that also when God calls a person, there are things that we have to let off. We have to break off. We have to break off a lot of things. And the first thing that Gideon had was to destroy was the altar of Baal. He had us to destroy that altar. There are a lot of things we have to drop off. We have to let go when God calls us. We cannot have that altar and have Christ. We have to get rid of that altar so that we can have free communion with Christ. Amen. So Gideon have to get rid of his father's altar. Gideon was still afraid, even though God spoke to Gideon. Even though Gideon knew that it was really the angel of God who was dealing with him. When God said to him, you got to get rid of the altar. Gideon said, you know, I really try to get rid of it. But I'll wait till it's dark when no one can see me. You know, so Gideon waited until it was night, and you know, he went and he broke down the altar and he broke down the everything that, you know, that the Israelites were worshiping and going before. He destroyed it. And the next morning they came out and they realized, where is our Baal? Where is our altar? And someone said, you know, Gideon, break it down. And you know the anger that was in the Israelites. They said, Gideon has to die. They're going to kill Gideon because he broke down their God. And I think Gideon first said, you know what? If Baal is a God, we do not have to fight for him. He can defend himself. So let us not fight for him if he is a God. Let him fight for himself. That's what saved Gideon. So they did not kill Gideon. So when we become Christian, when God calls us, when God, you know, ready to use us, we have to let go the things that keep us bound. It might be lying, it might be stealing, it might be backbiting, it might be any form of sin. When God ready to use us, and when we come in the presence of God, we have to break all these things off, because God cannot dwell in unclean vessels. We have to make ourselves presentable before